My name is Kevin Fernandez.
And I'm Jordan.
And welcome to my channel, Gamers Genie. Today is the premiere of our latest video, Genie's Top 10 List. Today we're going to talk about our top 10 board game pet peeves. Now these are things, I'm going to break this down for you so you can understand how it works. So this is a list of things that we've had done in board games that kind of bug us a little bit. Now, just because they bug us in these board games does not mean that we hate or love that board game any more or less than we would already do that. It's a little thing that gets under our skin, and we kind of wish it was like, not there anymore, or there are some remedies to some of this stuff. So these lists are that. So without further ado, let's get going. Okay, so for my number 10 is bad boards. Sometimes there's a lot of boards that fold up too much, and so therefore they become warped over time. I've only had this experience with 2 boards. That's why it's so high up on my list. It's nothing that bugs me that much, but if it keeps going like that, it's gonna really make me furious, and that will probably be my number 1 at some point.
I think that's pretty much like any board. You're like, it's so beautiful, but then you're afraid it's gonna wear out over time, and that's probably what you mean by
Well, it's not just that. It's like if you just bought the game and the board is already warped. Like you just bought it.
The root board that we had before we had the mat. Oh boy, it did not fall flat like it's supposed to.
Now remember, just because we have that on our list, that does not mean we dislike Root anymore. That does not mean we dislike Root. We love it. We just wish that. And there's some other games too that's had warped boards. That's just the one that's had it the biggest.
Yeah.
So.
So my number 10 is typos. Like there's one game that Kevin and I played like a few times, Kingdom Hearts Talisman. We noticed a typo on one of the spaces, and they misspelled the word, and I was like, that's not professional. That's like more of a minor mistake that I feel like that they made, but they should have double checked before they printed it out. That's just me, especially in books. I've read a lot. You guys probably know, Kevin has mentioned that I have a YouTube channel where I talk about books. That I've seen a lot of typos in books too, so it's not just board games, it's just typos in general. That just bugs me up a lot, but this is like more of a minor thing for board games.
Okay, so for my number 9, it's missing or broken pieces. Where you just bought a brand new game, you're super excited to play it, you open it up and there's a piece missing or something like that. I remember I got a copy of Simpsons Clue, don't judge, and one of the murder weapons was missing. The minute I opened it up, it was still wrapped in the plastic and everything. Nothing should have gone wrong, but it was missing one of the weapons. And that bugged me a lot. And there's also been a couple times where some of the stuff has come broken. It's annoying. The reason why this is my number 9 is because nowadays a lot of companies are trying to remedy this by sending you a replacement of the pieces that are missing and or broken.
Which is very helpful because, like, as a gamer, it's like the companies are appreciating, like, you to contact them saying that you have a piece missing. They would appreciate it that you let them know so they can give you a replacement, which is nice. So my number 9 is unpainted figures. And it's just because Kevin and I played Stuffed Fables. We wish the figures were coming painted and not have us paint it ourselves.
Well, so some of the games, the reason why, then that's not on my list. That's on your list,
yeah,
but that's not on my list. The reason why I thought about that, but then I was like, well, Stuffed Fables, the reason why it's bad is because, it's kind of targeted towards families and children. And so that could be frustrating to someone who has very young children, or the children, like that, because they see like someone like me or you, adults, and we have fully painted figures. They're like, wait, that guy had fully painted figures. Well, that's because, we're adults, we paint them ourselves. Now, it's just frustrating when it's like, it feels like that's every game now, though.
Yeah.
it's like, it's fine, but, you know, it's getting a little too common.
Yeah.
It doesn't bug me that much. Clearly, it bugs her.
Yeah. It's just like authentic. I think that's the word I was looking for. Authentically. I think that's the word I was looking for, but that's just another pet peeve of mine when it comes to board games.
And that's your number 9?
Yeah, it's my number 9.
Okay. Okay, my number 8 is pointless spin-offs and expansions.
Yeah, I can see like which games that you might be talking about.
There are a lot of really fun games that are great as standalones, and then there's like a spin-off or an expansion that they just release, and it's out of the blue. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add to the game. It doesn't, you know, and sometimes it takes away, if anything, it takes away from the game, and it gets really under my skin. I mean, I'm surprised I didn't move this a little more farther up. I thought about it several times, but then I got more mad when I got like other stuff. So
yeah, like I said, I can imagine which games that you're talking about that deals in that category.
Yep. So your number 8.
Yeah, my number 8 is certain amount of people, not amount of players working. Like, let's say, like Kevin and I have played Haunted House at full amount of player, which is 5, and didn't work out. It's just because one player gets left out, they couldn't do anything on their turn, and we would end up skipping that person's turn. So it's like I know a certain amount of players like do work like at the most amounts or like just in between. I just feel like with like that game, for example, it literally did not work. We just felt bad because I know you were the 5th player and you couldn't do anything. I remember when we played that. Mm-hmm.
So we just did your number 8?
Yeah, we just did.
Okay, so number 7. My number 7 is vague rulebook. This is when you're reading a rule book and you know, you're going through it, and they're very vague on a certain topic. Like there was one game that says if this many people show up on the board, I'm not going to mention the name of the game because again, we're not bashing these games. But if a certain number of characters get on the board, enemies or whatever, you lose. Well, we had already defeated 2 of it wanted 3. We already defeated 2 of the 3 enemies, and we were wondering, and then a 3rd enemy came out, and we were wondering, is this it? But all they say is you need 3. And we're like, huh? It doesn't say that in the rule book at all. It just tells you just need to have 3. And I don't know, to me that was very vague. I don't know. I'm not going to say the game because we're not trying to bash the games who had these problems. We're just saying these problems have showed up. There's also another game I've taught on this channel that rulebook was very vague. Like there was so much, I can't even name one thing right now because it's just too much.
Oh yeah, that's also on my number 7. I put down confusing rule book.
Oh,
like,
cool.
So it's kind of like in the same category, like some rule books you're like, oh, I understand, but then like you had to play the game so many times to understand the rules. Like for me sometimes, like we played game that we played the first time, like 2 out of 3 of us, because I'm including your dad, I would be the only one confused, and then it takes me like 3 or 4 more times to understand the rules from that game.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's my number 7.
Okay, so my number 6 is there's too many characters and not enough standees. It's perfectly fine when you want to take the little cardboard figurines and not like the fully plastic ones. I'm okay with that. But, you know, if you're going to use all of them, and let's say you have like 5 characters, villains and heroes, and they all need little standees, and then, so that's 10, but you only have like 6 total. It's weird. And, you know, it's like, then you have to like trade off with that one extra one because one guy has to have one permanently, and then of course you have to have one for each of the main characters and all that stuff. I just wish that if you're gonna have like if you're gonna have 8 characters, villains and heroes, you should have 8 standees. You can even make them a different color if you want, just so that way you can like verify which ones for the villains, which ones are for the heroes. But I don't know, that just bugs me a little bit when you don't have enough stands for the characters.
My number 6 is kind of similar, but except it's character related, but not what you're talking about. My number 6 pet peeve is a character with a lack of ability. Like, there's some characters that have cool abilities and some that are like very vague, and you're like, I don't want to play this character. Like, they have a lame power or something, and you're like, what am I supposed to do with when I'm this character? Because I know there's a bunch of games that we played that has awesome abilities, and you and I play those characters multiple times because of how cool their abilities are. But then there's some characters that we are like, like, it's like their abilities are so vague that you're like, I don't understand this character's ability. What are we supposed to do? So that's like my number 6, related to yours, but not really. But in certain games, I know there's characters that have abilities, but there's some that are like just have a lack of ability, in my opinion.
Okay, so my number 5 is there's not enough tokens. I've had this a lot. It seems to be a more growing common thing. And I think I know why, because number 1, a lot of people are trying to cut back on cardboard nowadays because everybody's trying to go green. But number 2, they don't want to use metal because metal is more expensive to do. So they just toss out like 4 or 3, like the smallest amount of tokens possible. And then before you know it, you're out of those tokens, and then you have to like improvise. And now,
or use substitutes.
I know that there's companies who make metal coins and you can just buy those, which is perfectly fine. But for people who don't want to spend extra money on, tokens and coins and all that stuff, I can, this is why it's very high on my list, because, I'm thinking more of like, not as like someone like me or Jordan who plays games almost on a daily basis, but someone who is not even really a casual gamer, like a casual gamer, or just someone who is just getting into gaming or getting back into gaming for the first time. They open up a box. There's not enough tokens to use for keeping track of victory points or whatever you're using the tokens for in the rules, and you run out when you're halfway through the game. That's not a good thing. Now, I know there's games like Small World who have like a big bounty of tokens, and every time you buy an expansion, they send you like a pack of 10 more. Yeah. So you never run out. But unfortunately, there are a lot of games that have a low count of tokens. So that is why that is my number 5.
Yeah, so my number 5 is color mismatch. I know this should be a small thing, but sometimes, like, when it comes to, like, figurines, like blue, for example, there's one shade blue and then it's, like, a darker shade blue on the other figurine. I'm like, I want them to match. I just want them to match, not, like, one slightly off, if you know what I mean.
Well, that could be because of something that happened with the printer. That's probably not...
Yeah, it's not the company's fault. It might have something happen to
Yeah, that could have been something that went wrong in manufacture, but yeah, it's a problem every now and then, and it's shocking how that gets through to a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so my number 4 is low quality. There is a lot of games. There are quite a few games, actually. Not a lot, but quite a few, who they either have the same quality they had back when they first started, like, Monopoly. Don't know where that came from. But, it just feels like they're just like, oh, who cares? It's it's okay. It's fine. And then, there's other, and it's shocking when you have like independent gaming companies who are making something with similar pieces and the quality is much more higher. So it's like, this is a lot of these low quality issues come from some of the more professional gaming companies, some of them that have been around for hundreds of years.
Oh, yeah.
it's crazy. And so, yeah, low quality is definitely something I've seen a lot in board games.
Yeah, so my number 4 is the size of the board. Like, I know this is not much of a big deal, but sometimes, like, depending on the size board, you say, like, oh, this is a perfect size. And then some that are like, oh, wait, if it's too big. Like, if you're trying to play with on a table like this, you would have trouble doing, like, more than 2 or 4 players. Like, Pirates, for one. I have no problem with the board. I think it's awesome. It's just like trying to set up. Like, if we play on a smaller table, all the pieces will fall off. So that's why I'm saying, like, the size of a board is kind of a pet peeve of mine, just because depending on, it's nothing wrong with the board itself. It's just a matter of what kind of table we're going to be using when we're playing certain games. That's just my opinion.
Okay, so my number 3 is seals on the box. And again, I get it. We're trying to go green. The environment is important. I get it. But I really don't like it when we put those little sticker seals on the boxes. And you guys know which company does that the most. We're not trying to bash, so we're not going to name that. If you guys know which companies use those a lot, the little sticker seals that when you try to peel them off, it rips off like half the box art. You know, I know for like someone who doesn't really get into gaming that much, it doesn't bug them as much. But for someone like me, someone like Jordan, who really like the game or who love gaming, you know, when you decide to make a move that can potentially ruin your box art, that's really bad. So, and then of course you can cut them with, like, you know, an X-Acto knife or just a pocket knife or something like that. But then you have those stickers that are just drooping there and they look ugly.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
All I'm saying is, at some point, I hope that we figure out a way to move past the sticker seals on boxes, and or at least try to figure out how to make them so they don't rip off part of the box.
Like the ones that are like.
Don't name names.
No, I'm not naming any names. I was saying, like, talking about the stickers. I was bringing up the stickers. Like, unless they use the ones that, like, I'm trying to think of what stickers, because I know I get them from one store, which I'm not going to name, and they have stickers that come off easily. I wish they have those kind of stickers on the board games, because I'm pretty sure it's easier, plus it wouldn't ruin the artwork on the box. So my number, we're on number 3, right?
Yep.
Okay, my number 3 is the time length. It's because certain board games, like, I get, it's like, it all depends on the number of players. That's what Kevin and I figured out on the time limits. It usually depends on the amount of players. Like, if it's 2 players, it'll take longer, or with the full amount of players, it might take longer, or with the full amount of players, it might go by quicker. But, and it's just, like, sometimes, like, if you're, like, wanting to learn like, if you're new to a game, I get it takes longer, but once you, like, play it so many times, I feel like we always go past the, like, time length on what the box says, in my opinion, sometimes.
Well, if I may add in, you know, I mean, I can get how time length written on the box and then it doesn't end. So the things that contribute to that is usually skill level and how many times you've played the game. So
yeah, that's why I was saying.
If you played the game like 5 times before, then it's gonna go by quicker.
Yeah.
And you're already an experienced gamer, you played this game multiple times, it's gonna go quicker. But if you have, like, you and maybe another person, and then the rest of the players are all, like, brand new to this, it's gonna take some time because they all need to get up to your speed.
Yeah.
To do that. It's something that happens, and I get it. I do also wish that they just take the time, how long it takes to play a game. But I get it. To determine on how, you know, if we want to play it or not, I know it makes a lot of people feel comfortable. To me, it's like a safety net on a trampoline.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, it's not actually going to keep you safe, but it's there to give you the idea of safety. Okay, so for my number 2, I wrote switching the boxing. And I was kind of puzzled. I'm like, why did I write that down? But now I remembered. So what I mean is by the inside of the box, the packaging, whereas one game has like all these nice and neat places to put everything by a company. And then the same company makes another game. We're not bashing anybody here.
Yeah, we're not naming any names.
And you open up the box and there's less compartmentalization, you know, there's less stuff to put in each thing. Like half the time it's just like there's this one fat section right here, couple of slits back here, and you have like 50 of the small little tokens or something to represent something. And you have no idea how to pack this back up.
It's like you have to search for a video on YouTube on how to actually pack it, which is annoying.
And it's just so weird. And then of course you have it where it's up a little bit. So, you know, and sometimes this can even happen where it's like a first edition and the boxing is all nice and neat and everything. But then they come out with a second edition and it's a sloppy mess. And it's like, what the heck? Why didn't you just do what you did in the first edition? I get it. You want to change it up a bit, but you don't have to change it up that much. It's crazy. So yeah, that's my number 2, switching the boxing.
Yeah, so my number 2 is the age limit. Some of them I do understand, like 10 and up, that's like for kids. But there's some that are like up to 13 can play. I understand with Game of Thrones because you have chopped up heads on the stakes. Like I'm using
heads on spikes.
Heads on spikes. Yeah, I'm just using that as an example. But there was another game that's like that we have. I'm not gonna mention it. That they
is it Elder Sign?
No, it's another one.
Because I could say that's not for kids.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that I also could understand. But there's one that's
you're gonna have to tell me which one it is when we're done with this. Because it's hurting my brain.
Yeah, because it just bugs me. Like there's some I understanding why it's like 13 and up can play this game, but there's some I'm like, why make that decision? That's confusing. That's just.
But like it's for 14 and up, and it's mostly goofy cartoons. And
yeah,
there's like
something
really,
like that.
It's not gory or anything. It's just goofy cartoons.
Yeah, that's why I was gonna say.
Okay, yeah, you're really gonna need to tell me which game is in your mind.
I'll tell you after this.
So that was your number 2?
Yeah, that's the number 2 that bugs me a lot.
All right, so my number 1 is a disorganized rulebook, and it's not the thing that's happened to me the most common. It's just something that bugs me the most. I hate it when I get a brand new game, I open up the rulebook trying to learn how to play the game, and the thing I should know first is last, and the thing that I should know last is first. And then I flip to like the middle of the page, and then I'm like more in the end of the game, and then I flip over to the next page and I'm back at the beginning again. It is very confusing. I know complaining about a disorganized rulebook in my profession is probably not something that I should be doing, but it does bug me.
Oh, it bugs me too, to be honest, because even you have me look at the rule saying, does it say right? And I'll be like, yeah, it is.
Because it's one thing to not understand a rule. I get it. You know, you don't understand a rule. You can go to, there's frequently asked question pages on different websites. I go to Board Game Geek sometimes to ask a couple questions about a game. Or you could go to your favorite YouTuber, like Gamers Genie, or Watch It Played. See, I enlisted other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can ask me or Rodney, and we'll get to your question as soon as possible. Make sure that we taught the game first. I do think that, or you can just message somebody on Twitter. You can toss out a message on Twitter. There's so many ways you can figure that out. But if you're opening up the rulebook on day 1 and you don't understand what's going on, it's terrible. And this is not only something that could be a pet peeve. This could totally be like an enemy of board gaming. And I think it was an enemy of board gaming on Dice Tower's top 10 enemies of board gaming.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was one of their things. I don't know who had it, but I think that was one of their things.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. But, it's just, it's frustrating, it's annoying, and it needs to stop. I'm not saying it needs to be like paint by numbers easy.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying make it a little more easier for maybe there's somebody who doesn't like spending a lot of time on YouTube.
And throw a few examples here and there, because I think that's helpful with us with some of the rules, because they actually show pictures in the rule book saying this is the example of this and that actually help us understand the game.
I have read some rule books where there are 0 examples in there.
I'm just saying there were some that we had that had pictures for.
I had some where there's none, just at all. No examples, no pictures, no nothing.
Oh.
It's just like, this is what you do. Good luck.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just saying that there's some that have examples.
But that's my number 1, disorganized rule books.
Yeah, so my number 1 is action order. And with some games, I do enjoy and I understand the action. Or it's like they say you do step 1, step 2, step 3. But there's some that are like, which one am I supposed to do first? That bugs me a lot with a lot of games that Kevin and I have. It's like, well, it's like some of the orders that, like at Gen Con, the instructors have explained to us how to play the game, which is easy, but like when you're just playing the game by yourself and you're just learning how to play a game, you tend to make a lot of mistakes because they'll be like, oh, you're not supposed to do this yet. You have to wait until after this action and all that.
Okay. So what was that?
That action order. That's my number 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
What do you think I put down?
So wait, so you're talking about like hero phase, villain phase.
Yeah, but there's some games that don't have like a villain phase or hero phase. They're just list of actions, and you're not sure which one you're supposed to do.
Oh, like
first
attack,
or last.
defend,
yes,
magic.
Yeah, something like that.
Etc.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I get it. So, I get it now.
Yeah.
All right, so there you have it, our top 10 pet peeves in board games. Now, we do want to mention that we have no hard feelings for anybody who actually did these pet peeves of ours. We do love them. It's just these are things that bug us a little bit. So let us know, so we don't feel like total monsters. Let us know what some of your board game pet peeves are in the comments below, so that way we can we don't have to feel so alone after this.
And plus, we would like to know if you agree with our pet peeves or you have your own pet peeves that we would love to hear.
Yeah, maybe you had some of the same, just in a different order. Maybe you had maybe none of them actually showed up. You just have bigger lists. We are going to be doing a more happier top 10s list. I'm going to be doing a top 10 Lord of the Rings board games list. So that's going to be coming out next month. We're going to be doing these at the last Friday of every month. So be on the lookout for those. But until then, thanks for the views.